Hi friends, hola amigos. If you have watched last week's videos, now you have a pretty good idea on what are the key elements that would make our users participate in our gamified designs. If you also follow the proposed quests and exercises, you also have begun to train the analytical and critical skills that will help you become a professional gamification designers further in this MOOC. So, with this previous knowledge, let's begin to explore now where could we apply gamification. What are the different settings or contexts where gamification could be useful? And I'm thrilled to open this new week in our MOOC saying that we're going to have the exceptional presence of Mr. Mario Herga, one of the greatest thinking minds when talking about gamification and enterprise gamification, and who has been so kind to record an entire episode on this last topic. So the question to the answer, where can we apply gamification, is easy. Everywhere. But that is not fair. The real question is, should we apply gamification everywhere? Let's see. In the first weeks of this course, we said that the effectiveness of gamification lies on persuasion. Users change their usual behavior, their attitudes, or their pattern of thoughts towards something because they discover that an alternative way more suitable to fulfill their drivers, their needs. Of course, this option is subtly presented within the system by the gamification designers. But this process of persuasion has limits. It's really difficult to persuade someone to do things against his or her beliefs, their principles, their inner values. I can give you 1,000,000 points or use some other gamification mechanic, but surely with that, I'm not going to convince you to use physical force to convince someone of something if this course of action is not inside your inner beliefs or your life values. The second question is, do I need to spend a lot of money to deploy gamification at my company or in my school? No, not really. Of course, if you have the money, you can do it. And it's very useful, especially if your potential customers or users are geographically dispersed. But technology is not a synonym of success. This week, we will see a lot of examples where technology is not the main thing. Therefore, the answer to the question, should I apply gamification on a given problem, depends mainly on what kind of game elements we want to apply. How are they aligned to our goals and the kind of players, processes, products, services, or culture you're going to gamify? So your quest for the next videos is to analyze if the gamification examples you will be seeing are designed to solve one or more of the following issues. Is that gamification design trying to solve meaning issues? Check if the gamification design mirrors some aspects of the reality we want to solve, sometimes simplifying them or clarifying the goals and steps needed to achieve them, usually by making the elements inside and players' strategies more relevant, highlighting the applicable rules and the relation among the elements and in general transforming the system into something more comprehensible for the users and also enhancing his or her empathy. The second possible option is the gamification system trying to enhance free practice, is upgrading users, or trying to do some kind of simulation of tasks? In this case, the design facilitates the practice of personal and professional skills and reinforces several processes of immediate feedback that allows users to check his or her performance by himself or herself. The negative feedback has only an informative value for the improvement of the skill, with no real consequences for the player. The third option is that the gamified system tries to generate pleasure or satisfaction. In these cases, the design taps on one or more of the already seen human drivers. Don't think that gamification systems focused mainly in achieving meaning are necessarily better than those focused on achieving satisfaction. Each one of them have their value depending on the goals we're looking to solve. And remember that the possible options we just listed before are usually mixed. So this was a brief introduction to the topics we're going to see this week. Let's begin and analyze different contexts where gamification could be useful, and let me show you and analyze with you different real examples. Let's begin.